I'd move a lot more, but my back hurts.
Old and New Year.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, man. We've gotten some snow in the last couple of days, and I'm not kidding. It's wreaking havoc on my back.
No good.
That's because you're
Anyway,
old.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The
Amy's
first.
looking at me like I'm crazy.
Snow?
Right.
Is that what you call that? That was not.
We got it doesn't matter. Anytime that the barometer changes, my back says, you know what, we're not playing today.
That's because you're old.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Yes,
Too old.
indeed.
Didn't bother me.
That's right.
So thanks for joining us, Amy. We'll talk to you next week.
It's been good having you.
It's
Yeah.
been great having you. Appreciate it. Hey, first podcast of the year for the Convene communities. We are going to introduce a new community tonight and have the honor of having the community leader, Amy, which is exciting. And everybody knows Jeff Basin, but both of you guys are teachers. So thank you so much for what you guys do, because me and Doc are not smart enough to be teachers, and that is the truth. So
You know that.
exactly. So I want to start out this podcast because we're talking about school and we're talking about teachers, and we just had the debate. And everybody watching should remember, but it's all about the triangle pizza. It's not the square pizza; it's the triangle pizza from when we grew up.
Rectangle.
What?
The
What?
Rectangle.
Correct yourself.
Rectangle. God, I even went there.
Rectangle,
Rectangle.
triangle.
This is why you're going to lose the election, because you can't even get basic facts right. Just for you, Jeff.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, the rectangle pizza. That was the best. We already established that. So, without further ado, Amy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, Matt. Hello, gentlemen. Good to see you all. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you're
Happy
here with
New
the
Year.
crowd.
It's good to be seen.
That's right. Could be worse. Could be worse. If your back keeps hurting, you might not be seen much longer. It's true. You never know. Amy, teacher community. So if everybody's been watching and they know the little bit of a history of Amy and part of the community, you started out, you came in and you were, you still are, but you were part of the parenting community and you were part of the young adult and teen community. But we started talking and you really have a passion about teaching. And so introduce yourself as far as being a teacher and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a 20-year veteran teacher. I know I don't look old enough to be 20 years in, but I am. I taught elementary ed, anywhere from kindergarten through almost 8th grade. So kindergarten through 6th, 7th grade. I decided when COVID hit that I was going to make a transition because I was burnt out. I was exhausted. I was never seeing my kids, and I had a pile of work that had nothing to do with teaching my kids. And so I was like, I still want to work with kids, but I still want to do something to where I can spend time with my own kids and I can still show up for the kids in my classroom or in the buildings. So I decided to, again, as COVID hit, I'm like, oh, I'm going to retire, have my 20 years in, retire, and start my own business to where I can go give back into the schools to talking kindness and self-confidence building as a motivational speaker. But what I saw through teaching was that our teachers struggle. I'm sure Jeff can, agree with that. Our teachers struggle to show up every day. Our teachers struggle to get through the day just as much as our kids do. So I joined Convene. Actually, it's been a year this month.
Yeah.
And I actually came in as just an observer. I was like, I don't want to post it. I'm just observing. Came in through Josh Griffith, hung out with his community, and then Kate Galhu. She was like, well, you do a lot with parents. You do a lot with kids. How about you join the, uniquely yours? I was like, okay, I can give some, I can collaborate and give content and share in there. And then as the year kind of progressed, Matt and I were meeting. I was like, man, our teachers are still struggling. And I was seeing a massive gap that are between our teachers needing that quiet space, that mental health, that mental wellness, and they weren't getting it. So we created the teacher tribe.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So, Jeff, and you're still active. You're still active teacher, right? So, I mean, how do you see it? I mean, what's going on
Most
in
days
this?
I'm active.
Yeah, well, that's true. Let's be honest.
How do I see what?
What's it like for you in the classroom? I mean, and as a teacher and all that, do you agree with
Um,
Amy?
yeah, I guess I'm in my fifth year in the classroom, right? So I taught where I was coaching in university level, college level for a while, and then transitioned. And um, my first full year, I was in seventh and eighth grade middle school, and that last part of the spring is when COVID came about, and so we transitioned out of the classroom. And then my first semester in high school, we were all online, and then second semester back and forth. So really, 2022-ish, um, everything was back in the full swing in the classroom, and there was there. I guess I didn't notice it right away, but there was a difference certainly in the kids. Um, basically of having so much time not in the classroom. And I started to see it mostly in the rising ninth graders, so coming out of middle school in the ninth grade. I can't really even put my finger on it, but it was just a bit different. They weren't used to classroom setting, the discipline, the day to day, goings on in the classroom, I guess, if you will. They were a little more, I guess, aloof. Not aloof. That's a bad word. They couldn't keep attention quite as long. And you see all these stuff in the kids, and well, as teachers, we were working hard to get that back, instilled in them. And really, last year, spring 23, this past spring, I know for me, of my 5 years, last spring was hard. Like, it was long, it was hard, it just, everything had caught up and taken a toll. I know other teachers, felt the same way in the school. And as I've always said to you guys, I'm in a pretty good situation. We don't have a lot of kids in the classroom. We have a pretty small school, so I have it pretty good. I can't even imagine teachers in larger schools, 25, 30, 35 students in classes, having 5, 6 classes, right? It just took a toll. It's taking a toll. Um, we tried to do things that we were just talking about before we came on, our fun Fridays. We're having soup day this Friday. So as teachers, as a staff in the high school, we just try to do something sort of for ourselves, right? Just to, I don't want to say get us through the week, but it's something to look forward to in the week. So, but teacher fatigue and the stress and everything that's going on post COVID has taken a toll. It's a lot.
Yeah. So, what more could you look forward to than food? We started the
No,
conversation with pizza, and now we're talking soup.
soup.
We'll see
Yep.
where this conversation goes by the end. What foods we talk
Sloppy
about.
Joe.
We'll be sharing recipes soon, right?
Exactly. If you want to put a recipe in the comment, please do so. Yeah.
That's right.
So Amy, yeah, the teacher tribe, we talked and we were on that call, and you're like, you know what? That's kind of, where my thought, my heart kind of lies, because when you're getting towards the end, you talked a lot about being a mentor for young teachers and being there for young teachers. And they would always come and they would always turn to you. So talk a little bit about why was that? And why do you think the teacher tribe is going to be such a powerful thing?
Yeah, so my last 3 years of my teaching, I was a specialist. So as a reading specialist, I would go push in, I would pull out kiddos and whatnot. But I would go in and I would have, whether they were new teachers, seasoned teachers, whatever it is, they were always like, "What do you think of this? Like, I'm not really sure how to navigate this, or I'm struggling with this," or it was just a different perspective they were looking for. We had a huge, like, changing of the guard. So people were leaving, retiring, and people were coming in brand new, and they were like, "What the heck am I don't know what to do." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, let's sit down." Like, I was willing to sit down and have those discussions, and I think that's where so many of the people are like, "That's what I needed." I just needed somebody who
Mhm.
was gonna listen, somebody that was gonna say, "Oh, okay, well, why not try it this way or see if this works for your kids." Because I worked with so many of the kids throughout the last school I was in was kindergarten through 5th. We had 500 kids. and I worked with almost all 500 of them. So I knew
Mhm.
them, I knew their situation, and I knew necessarily what their needs were because I was in the classroom. I was pulling them out of the classroom. I could help them navigate different aspects of their learning styles or what they needed to maybe shift because I've experienced it 20 years in. I had a few things I could kind of pull out of my toolbox to help the newer teachers, seasoned teachers. I will say those teachers that had been there for much longer than me, they didn't necessarily wanted that, but they had it if they needed it. My door
Yep.
was always open to them. And when Matt and I talked, I was like, that's what people need. That's what
Yep.
Convene is about is that open door. Let's talk
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah.
Um, and I know for me personally, I have a niece that's a first year teacher this year. I saw her over the holiday break and I was like, listen, let me tell you what I'm doing. She was like,
Mhm.
really? She's
Yeah.
like, that would be great. She goes, because she's struggling. She's like, this is really hard. She's like, they don't teach you that stuff in
Mm-mm.
college. They don't prepare you. They can give you all of the scenarios you want, but they don't prepare you for what it's really like when you step in your classroom and you don't even know how to set it up.
Right.
So those real life situations, those real life conversations were things that I was having with teachers that were just coming in or, needing new ideas or fresh lessons and things like that. I'm like, let's sit down and do it. Let's, as a mentor, let me work with you, not against you, not trying to say I'm better than you, but this is what's worked for me. Let's give this a shot. And that's kind of where the teacher tribe came from because it was an outlet for myself, Jeff, other seasoned teachers, new teachers, teachers that were stuck. We talked about post COVID with the kids feeling kind of off. Our teachers do too.
Mhm.
So I think it's important that they have a safe space. And I've talked about that before, having that safe space where they can talk it out. They can connect. They can have a place where they go, oh man, I really don't know how to handle this situation. You can put it out there and somebody's going to be able to help you navigate through it or give you their perspective on it. And that's where the
Yeah.
teacher tribe came from.
Yeah, it's important. I think a lot of what you said is the mentorship piece of it. Um, really, probably, I would assume in any field. I know in coaching, having a coaching mentor or someone to bounce ideas off or talk about, and is important. But you were right and I've heard it from others. All the things that they teach you in school, in your education programs, you don't get the real life, the actual day to day stuff. Like you said, even just setting up your classroom.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Transitioning in for me, I had the experience in classroom, but it was in the college setting, so a lot different. And I have had a lot of experience being in front of kids or students and speaking with them. So that part wasn't bad for me, but it was just a matter of like we didn't even have a set curriculum per se, right? We'd used maybe some others in bits and pieces, and fortunately, I had a principal that was extremely supportive and helped me through a lot of that, but also said, kind of do what you want and just adapt it over the years, over the year, I should say. And then when I transitioned to high school, same thing. Well, that's awesome. And I'm glad I had the support and she always supported me. But at the same time, like, I didn't even know how to write a lesson plan.
That,
I knew from college and in my college classes, sort of. And I knew it from my student teaching, but that was fourth grade compared to high school. So for me, I just went back and, did it kind of like I do in my practice plans in soccer, just wrote it all down. And, fortunately, I had a couple of teachers that would look at it and say, well, you should add this or do this, and make sure you're always talking about whatever, topics or standards or whatever else. But, to have had a true mentor in the school or a platform or a community like this would have been very big for me.
oh yeah. And
Yeah.
just somebody that's been in the trenches as opposed to our administrators can be great. They've
Hmm.
probably been there, but
Hmm.
they're in the administrative world
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So to have somebody that's been in there, sat through, this kid falling apart in the middle of your math lesson or what have you, how do I handle
Right.
that? That's where you go to a mentor. That's where you connect with and collaborate with people that have been there or have gone or
Right.
are in it currently.
think about, like you said with your niece, the first year teacher coming right out of college, and you got a parent emailing you. And the
Oh
parent
yeah.
may be emailing you about how do you respond. Well, again, I had the experience of responding to plenty of parent emails as a coach and a
You're not playing my
director and
kid
all that.
enough. You're not playing my kid enough.
That's,
You
well, yeah,
probably got emails from me about that.
I didn't want to play your kid. But that's got to be a terrifying thing to be 22 and get an email from a parent that's sort of scathing at you. Oh my gosh, what do I do?
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that because that was one of the things she brought up. She's like, the kids are great at she's teaching second grade. So she's like, the kids are great. Like we've got a good rapport, we've got a good routine going. She goes, these parents like are just something. She goes, I'm not sure sometimes how to approach it
Mhm,
professionally, but also
mhm.
with understanding where the boundaries are at and things like that. She goes,
Yep.
they never taught us that in college. And I'm like,
Right.
"No, they haven't. This is
Yeah.
Yeah,
where
Jeff,
real life."
you missed it last night. I hadn't heard the term. You may have heard the term, and Amy heard it because she was watching last night. But Patty Muller talked about the newest term is lawnmower parents. Have you heard
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
I had not
Yeah.
heard that. I heard helicopter
Yeah.
parents, but I had not heard lawnmower
They
parents.
landed the helicopter and they're just going even deeper and
Now they're going
faster
deeper
after.
and they're cutting the path through the grass for their kids, and that's
Yeah.
what y'all are talking about, right? My kids are the most important things in the entire world, and you better do them right because if not, I'm gonna
Right.
come into the school and I'm gonna rip you apart.
Right. Well, and it's hard if you're especially a young teacher, but if you're a teacher and you don't have kids, you
Yeah.
don't understand that part of it. I was always fortunate to have, again, my parents were teachers, and I had a lot of family members of teachers, and so I had experience with, I guess, kids, but you don't have them, so you could sympathize, you can empathize, and then you don't necessarily know how to talk to them. You probably will say something that's going to set the parent off a little bit. So having people that have gone through it, having people to be able to talk through it with you, and it is huge.
Yeah, yeah, and when I was teaching, we didn't have anything like that. We didn't have a mentorship program per se. I know some of the coming out of college kids now may be lined up with that, but some of them aren't. Some of them are
Hmm.
like, "Here you go. Here's your classroom. Figure it out."
Right.
And they're like, "Oh crap! Like, what am I don't know what that means." And if you don't have parents that were teachers, or you don't have connections with other teachers, you're flailing, and it shows up when your kids walk in the classroom because you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, now I have these little humans that I have to try to teach in this chaos."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to have someone that can go, "Okay, let's take a breather." And the mental wellness of our teachers is massively not thought of,
Mm.
but in the educational system in the US. We talk about mental wellness for the kids all day long. They need this, they need this, they need a timeout, they need a break. But what about the teachers? Do they get a quiet corner? Can they
Right.
get a 5-minute timeout?
Right.
They need
How you guys get the summer off? Get out of here.
no, no, no. Don't go there because I'll go on a tangent about that comment right there.
And
Um,
that's what we call stirring the pot.
That's right. Yeah.
and that was
So
one of the things that I brought up to Matt was there's that gap. There is that huge gap where the mental wellness of the teachers, they're they're like clawing their way just to get to school in the morning. The amount of teachers that are leaving the teaching field has probably tripled, especially post COVID. I don't have numbers, but I'm going to
it's an
only
epidemic.
it's you can scroll through any social media and go to any teacher community and go, "Well, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. This is ridiculous. I'm leaving." I put my notice in. It's like, "Oh my gosh, what is going on?" Well,
Mhm.
there's no place for them to go and have a conversation like, "I'm really struggling. What do I need to do?" That's what the teacher tribe is for.
Right. Well, let me ask you real quick about that. You also travel across the country doing your speaking engagement at schools in different states and different areas. Are you hearing from teachers in these different states and different pockets of the United States the same thing or different things?
A lot of it is pretty much, we are so glad that we have a voice. Like,
Hmm.
we are so glad that somebody sees it. And they're like, "We're exhausted." Like, that's
Yeah.
probably the top thing I have is, "We're exhausted."
Oh, Amy, I used to work 60, 70 hours a week coaching and traveling and recruiting and everything else. And certainly it's tiring. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the 40, 45 hour weeks of teaching is more tiring.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was a parent the last, 12 years or 10 years of teaching. So on top of that, I had my work responsibilities. Now I have my home life responsibilities. I
Mhm.
would work, and I've shared this before. I would drop my kids off at school, go to work, have an hour-long commute, get to work till 4 o'clock, have another hour, commute home, see my kids long enough to have dinner, get them showered, and get them to bed. And I was like, "Oh, well, it's nice to see you." There was no balance. And I think that's what a lot of our teachers are craving, is that mental wellness balance,
Mhm.
family life, home life, but they have so much heaped on them. That's a lot of the conversation I'm hearing is we have all this extra stuff,
Yeah.
all of these extra responsibilities. We can't just teach. There's this, I have to do this, I have to plan this, I have to be on this committee, I have to they're exhausted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
their other option is to go, "I'm done. I'm
Mhm.
walking away, and I'll go, work at the
Right.
local grocery store," or whatever.
And I think I hear a lot of times exactly what you just said, all the extra stuff, and I feel a little bit too. But people are like, well, what do you mean the extra stuff? Like, what are you talking about? Well, the number of IEPs and 504s that I've gotten in just the last 2 years have increased. If you don't know
What?
what an IEP and a 504 is,
I have no
you,
idea.
That's
what's
like
an IEP?
military talk. This is teacher talk, so you
Yeah.
don't understand.
Me and Doc are gonna start throwing out some military
There you
No,
go.
no, no.
jargon
You
on
guys are
y'all here in
done.
a moment.
So it's well,
Snafu.
education plans, right? Plans for a kid's education and 504 accommodations. So different learning accommodations. My wife's a PT that works in the school system, and she's just said that the amount of young kids coming up pre-K K1 that have accommodations or needs right now. Now, fortunately, good bit of them, she says, are transitioning out as they get into the classroom and they mature a little bit more. But these accommodations are coming up, and if you've got, I got 20 kids in my classroom, which again isn't a lot, but in my fourth block class, I have 8 kids that have different needs. And so you
Oof.
have to accommodate different tests, different writings, different length of time, different, extra times on assignments or whatever the case is. And is it a huge deal if you organize? Not really, but if you have 6 classes and you got 6, 7, 8 kids in each class, it's a lot. And that's
And
just
even
one
if
thing.
you are organized,
Yeah,
it's exhausting.
yeah. And if a
You
kid's not, if a
one
kid's
less
absent and then comes back in, then
yeah,
you got to, yeah,
yeah. Or you have that one lesson plan, but you have to vary it for those 8 kids that need accommodations,
yeah.
and if you've never been taught that was one thing that when I came out of college, I was like, "504, what are you talking about?"
Hmm.
I was like, "We never learned that." You're learning that teachers coming in, especially new teachers, are learning on the fly, and they shouldn't have to.
Hmm.
There needs to be enough spaces, safe spaces that they can go to
Right.
find
Yeah.
all of that information and more, and have the support and the backing, because while some administrators are phenomenal, there are other administrators that just aren't.
Hmm.
I've experienced both, so how can we allow that to make it a space? It's what the teacher tribe is for, so that we,
Yeah.
can allow that and give that safe space for the teachers.
Right.
All right. So let's show it. The teacher tribe. All right.
Yeah.
So the community, and Doc put up a slide and that kind of shows the community here, and talk about it a little bit more in depth. Like, what's your overarching goal behind the teacher tribe? What do you want to have happen in here, and how can we grow it and get others to
And
come in?
and it says right there, it's a safe haven for collaboration and support, because this is not just my community. This is for everybody that walks in that door to be able to collaborate and support one another, share ideas, put out share. There's tons of websites out there that you can share lessons and you can share
Mm.
ideas. Well, now it's housed right here, that you can come in and you can share a lesson, you can share an idea, you can ask for help, and you can collaborate. This is all about us as teachers, not me, but us
Mhm.
as a community. And that was the biggest piece for me, is to make sure that every teacher that walked into that group knows it's not all me. This is not all me. This is a team effort. This is a collaboration community.
Well, you said it earlier, and that's one of the things that Convene is that's what it's all about. It's about, if we're four teachers sitting here, it's about sitting around that table saying, "Hey, if you're in this situation or you had this going on in your classroom, how would you handle it?" And every single person that's in that teacher tribe brings something to the table. So that
Mhm.
peer-to-peer teacher collaboration and working together is really going to be important in the growth of this. And it's in a different way. Yeah, you said it. There's other groups out there, there's Facebook groups, whatever, but this is done in a different way. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, we're only given so many hours out of our teaching day. You work from the, 7 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and then you go home and you decompress and you're like, man, I wish I had had a chance to talk to this person about this or gotten some information. There's no time during the day for teachers to be able to do that. Yes, you have plan time or prep time, but this is a way for you to sit down, decompress, and say, man, I really could use some help on how to adjust this lesson plan. Come into the teacher tribe, put
Mhm.
it in there,
yeah,
and and you'll get all kinds of feedback for it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you're exactly right. You can't just step out of your classroom and go for a quick walk around the building and come
Oh,
back and start doing work again, right?
unfortunately,
Um,
no,
y-
unless you
you're
take all 25 of your kids with you.
right. Yeah,
And that
you're
different
always
story.
on. You're always in the classroom with. So to get, I mean, like you've described, everything from serious issues to lesson plans to how do I, what should I do with my bulletin board to whatever the topic is. Hey, it's going to be right there. And again, like you said, there's so many different sites that you can, borrow, share, steal, buy, whatever lesson plans, which is all fine and dandy. But sometimes you get these lessons plans and you're like, how do I use this best? Right. So even to be able to post your own lesson plan, it's something I want to do with the soccer community as well is here's a practice plan. What do you guys think? How would you change it, alter it? Right. Same idea. Hey, here's a lesson plan for the French Revolution, whatever, right? Here it is. What do you guys think? And how would you adapt it? How would you use it with your kids? How would you use it with your IEP, your 504, whatever, your different learning styles? And then all in one community, one group. And I know you were talking earlier about, or beforehand about the discussion board part of it. Well, great opportunity to search any topic and go right into finding what you need.
Yeah, and it's all in one place. You don't have to go to this website, this space, and you can do it on your time frame. That's the
Mhm.
big piece of it. We're busy. We're busy
Yep.
teachers. So you can do it on your
Well,
time.
so let's talk about, you mentioned this experiences, right? And that's our modality, that's our training thing that we use in here. And you mentioned that earlier, is that we all bring something to the table. We bring that experience. So you at 20 years, you have life experience, you have experience. And so experiences. And remember, as you're talking about this, as everybody's watching this, everybody's listening, in the community setting, anybody can write an experience. We want to drive collaboration in this community with the discussion boards, with experiences, with blogs, getting contributors, and that's what we're going to kind of talk about. But talk about experiences. What's an experience, and what do here's some examples of some. Talk about them and kind of go through those.
Yeah, so an experience is that learning tool. Like I can go through the experience and I can figure out I can take the experience and get some fresh perspective, and I can answer the questions if you choose to put questions in your experience, which I typically do. There's always a lesson to be learned. It's a lesson. If you're a teacher, it's your lesson that you want your students to come out from. In your case, the teachers. What do you want the teacher to learn from this experience? The one of them is that 5-second breathing tool. And we don't intentionally breathe enough. And for teachers to take 5 seconds, and just breathe before you react, because our kids will test us every single day. Jeff can probably go, yep, they sure do. They test us, or a situation test us. So they say, okay, well, if we take 5 seconds to just breathe, you'll come down from reacting for the sake of reacting and give your body a chance to process it. So that's one of the experiences within there. And I always, at the end, there will always be questions. Like, it'll always be, an open-ended question. Take that from a teacher. Open-ended questions to see if it works for you. Try it. Go through the experience. Give your thoughts on it. And that's the great thing about the experiences, is that you can take them at your pace and give your thoughts and your input in it, and you can create your own, which is always fun.
Experiential learning, shared learning. That's what
Yep.
this is.
Yeah.
Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say the other thing about the experiences, and not just taking your time and thinking about the questions or whatever, but the fact that you're answering whatever question that is imposed to you without seeing anybody else's answers or having any background knowledge from anybody else aside from what's in the background itself, the information. And then when you're done with your questions, you then get to see everybody else's answers. So now that's your way of learning from all the other teachers and you didn't even know about it,
Yep.
right? You may think you have a great answer and you probably do, but then you read everybody else's and you see something else that, you know what, that's a great idea too, or that's something that should use as well. So, the experiences, the experiential learning piece of it, the peer-to-peer learning of it is, I think, going to be one of the biggest attributes to the teacher tribe community.
Yeah. And it's a
And
resource.
also,
It's those experiences are
yeah,
resources to put in your
yeah,
teacher toolbox. Take them out as you need
yeah,
them, replace them as you need them, and use them in a
yeah,
way that are successful for each individual person.
right. And the fact that collaboration is going to be such a focal point in this community, and the fact that you, Amy, as the community leader, do not have to be the only one creating experiences,
Right.
that anybody in the community can create an experience is going to be huge,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. We together don't have all the answers. And everybody else that can add to these, can add to the community and add experiences for everybody else to learn from. The possibilities are endless for this
Yeah.
community.
Well, let's stay on that topic of collaboration and growth,
Yeah.
and then we'll get to some other stuff about the things inside of it. But collaboration and growth, and the ultimate goal. And I've been going, you got to do this. You got to do this. I've been going at Amy and saying this is how it has to happen. Is you got to find there's enough teachers and enough people out there with a lot of experience, and they're very passionate about what they do and about being a teacher. So can you guys go out and find those people and teachers and administrators or people that are still in it and they want to build that positive community of teachers to really grow? And so one of the thought processes is finding different groups, finding different state leaders, finding different people that are wanting to come in and make a difference across the country, to really kind of reinvigorate this teaching. I don't like
Mhm.
teachers. Let's be honest. Doc, do you like teachers? I mean, let's go. We like
Wow.
students, but not just kidding.
Well, they
But
say those that can't teach, and those that can't teach Jim. Just saying.
No, but look, now the point is like reinvigorate this teaching community. Really kind of make it into what
Mhm.
it can be, and don't be pain in the butt students like me and Doc would have been. But that's what it's all about. It's about coming together, and I think that this
Yeah.
is going to be key in the growth process to find those people that are passionate about what they're doing.
yeah, everybody has
Yeah.
something to offer, and we talked about this
Mhm.
earlier, Matt. Like, everybody has a purpose. Oh, and people go, "Well, I'm just a kindergarten teacher," or "I'm just at this." You're not just. You have something to offer within the community, whether it's your experience, whether it's an idea that came and you tried it and it didn't work. Great, share it with us. Why didn't it work? Let's talk it through. So just really everybody that steps foot into that teachers tribe has something to offer and can create
Yeah.
and collaborate with everybody that's in there.
Yeah. And a different perspective.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just looking right now, but my mom's watching. My mom was a 30-year veteran teacher,
Come on.
teacher of the year, taught all sorts of, elementary, middle school kids, and still teaches, my daughter's growing up, still teaches me. I admit it. But, put somebody with that experience into this community, put 100 or 1,000 of people like that with that experience into this community, and now you've got a completely different, set of eyes and a completely different perspective. This was what I did, and it worked really well, right? Maybe you adapt it in this way to this, modern day kid atmosphere, or whatever.
Yeah.
Collaboration for many different people.
Well, everybody has that, and I do love teachers. Let me be honest. I was not joking. I was
Oh, now that I
students.
say my
Hey,
mom's
your mom.
watching, you love
Hi,
teachers.
I'm Miss
Oh, I see
Jason.
how
I
it
love
is. Yeah,
That's
teachers.
popcorn song, everybody.
The whole thing just I love teachers. No,
For
sure.
the
no,
record,
really.
I'm not flip flopping on this.
Listen, but everybody has that teacher or that coach or multiple teachers and coach that they look back and know, like mine was Ms. Marshall, my fourth grade teacher, biggest influence as a teacher in my whole entire life. And then Miss Reek, when I was in high school, biggest influence, she was my psychology teacher. That's the one reason why I, am a counselor today. And I've told her many times over the years that, because of her, that really kind of got me going down that side. But you have that, people bring so much to the table and you want to bring that expertise together. And in the community, one of the great ways to collaborate is discussion boards. And we want people to come in and know that everybody can be part of that. Right. So talk
Mhm.
about how important this again, the collaboration, and people are bringing so much to the table. And it's not just about Amy
Yep.
posting, and it's not just about Jeff posting, but it's about anybody and everybody bringing something to the table. Either if they're not experienced, they can ask that question, those hard questions, and you're going to get the expertise and the teachers who've been there and done that to come in and help you out. So talk about that.
I love the discussion board. That's probably one of my favorite parts about Convene, other than the amazing people. But like the discussion boards is where you go to ask your questions. Like put them in there. Like not sure how to do this, try it. You see it right there. How do you get a workout in? People, responding to that. It's so huge to be able to offer a discussion board where you can, first of all, there's no algorithm. So you're not going to get it kicked out unless you're inappropriate, in which case you will get it kicked out.
Mhm.
But you can go in and put in, man, I just had a really rough day. Anybody have suggestions how to, bounce back? This is where you put those questions at that relate to teaching and whatever you're facing, or hey, I see, and people can respond. And that's where it gets really collaborative because people can come in and go, oh, well, I tried this. The one that was talking about a workout, there were people that put stuff in there. This is what I've tried. I put something in there. I was like, this is a great idea. And the conversation continues. And that's what's so great is you get to collaborate, you get that perspective, and you could ask those questions that if you put it into other social media places, may get kicked out or may be, just not seen. But this
Well, they might get lost
Yeah,
too, because
exactly.
if you noticed at the top of the discussion board image there, it's searchable.
Yep.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
um, it's not searchable in other platforms. It's there. It's there for a day or two maybe, and then it just sort of gets lost down in the shuffle.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about the discussion board is, like you said, it's searchable. So let's say I search something, and it's a topic and it's been posted a year ago, and that's the topic that I really wanted to search and comment on. It pops to the top, so it goes. It doesn't stay at the bottom. When you answer it, you put your response in there, you reply to it. It goes to the top of the discussion board.
Mhm.
And so,
Mhm.
those important topics will continue to go up and continue to go. And like we talked about the
Right.
anonymity, you can post something anonymous, but you can also answer anonymous, which becomes very important because
Yeah.
people get open and honest when they're not on the spot. If they've had a if you've had a rough day and you're a teacher, maybe you don't want to come out and say, "Well, I'm struggling in the class as myself," but maybe I want to post it anonymously, and then people can respond, and that's great. That's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I want to share another maybe example of collaboration. And it's not just collaboration between people or between teachers, but also collaboration within the platform. There's an experience in Uniquely You called One Word, and I used it with my soccer team. and I've now used it for 2 semesters in a row with my last 2 classes. So I'm collaborating across communities. So example of how you could use the teacher tribe in terms of writing an experience for others is this is an experience that's worked really well. And the idea behind one word is that I have the kids think of a word, excuse me, that they're going to use as motivation for the semester. And I tell them it doesn't have to be in my classroom. It doesn't have to be just academics. It can be, outside of classroom, friends, family, sports, whatever. Just what's that one word? And they come up with the word. They put it in the experience. They write it out, and they sort of give a little bit of an idea of why they chose that word. And again, it's anonymous, so for students, they don't have to worry about people knowing, who's posting and writing these answers. But then they write out their word, draw it, color however they want, put it up on the wall in my classroom. And so every day they see this word. I ask them to share it with somebody else, right? Share it with mom, dad, grandpa, grandma. I always say grandpa, grandma because grandpa, grandmas are great at reminding you, what your word or asking you about your words or whatever. But and I've used it with soccer teams for a long time, my teams, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, those that follow through on it and see it and use it every single day, it helps them, in whatever way they want it to be helped, it helps them. So there's another example of how collaboration across the communities and across the platform can help out in the teacher tribe.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's the thing is there are people in all of the communities in Convene that you can connect with, you can collaborate with,
Yep.
and you're like, you know what, that's a really great experience. I'd like to take it to the teacher tribe and adapt it for the teachers or utilize it for the teachers. And that's huge. That's a huge opportunity for people to collaborate and connect.
Yeah. Well, another thing that I'm real big on that I've been talking to Amy about is contributors. Some people don't want to come in and create a group. Some people might not have the time to come in and create a group. Some people have a tremendous amount of experience in the teaching classroom. So let's find contributors, right? Let's find people like, for example, last night on the mental wellness community, I interviewed Patty Moeller. Patty Moeller's mental health counselor, sitting here holding her book. Wonderful lady. But she's so overwhelmed right now with her people and her clients. She didn't have time to grow something and convene. But she's very willing to let me interview her on the Mental Wellness podcast every month to be a contributor. And last night we had a great podcast on that. And so let's talk a little bit about that, Amy, and we'll talk about it, as it comes to the blogs and just interviewing about finding people who can be contributors.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm looking for with the community too, is to have those people that are, listen, teachers are busy. Life is busy. Patty was busy, but she's able to give what she can give. And I think when we look at contributors, giving them the space to be able to contribute, even if it's let's say they have a blog somewhere else and you're like, hey, you know what? That's really good. I'd love to, for you to be a contributor here. I know you're busy. Let's see how we can work it out together. Just as you said, Matt, with Patty, that you were able to do once a month. Okay. That works for her. Other people, there's so many people that have, and I'm going to use Jeff just because what you have up there is what Jeff sent me. This was something that Jeff sent me, and he was like, I think it'd be a great thing to put in the teacher tribe. And I said, well, where do you think it should go? Should we use it as a blog? Should we use it as an experience? Getting his feedback, even though his schedule is jam packed, he's like, I don't have time. I was like, I'll take care of it. He was able to contribute that to me, and I could put it out there for everybody else to see. And the blogs are a great place to be able to put that. I like to write. I know Matt likes to do videos. I like to type and write. So the blogs that I put in there, a lot of it is written out because that's what I do. But people put videos in there if they time wise, but contribute, be that contributor. If you don't have, the time to create a course and all that, of course your schedule is busy because you're in the classroom most of the day. But we all have something to contribute in any of these groups, not just the teacher tribe, but as teachers, you can always be a contributor. You don't have to be the one running the show.
Yep. How many years, Jeff, was your mom a teacher?
30 plus.
30 plus. Think about that life experience in the classroom, and using your mom as an example. That's a great interview. 30
Yep.
plus years in the
Mhm.
classroom. How did you do it? How did you stay motivated? What are the things that you
Right.
did to keep the teachers engaged? Those are the types of things that I love. And I think that those are the types of things in whatever community we're talking about, the coaching soccer community, the parenting community, this teacher community. Can we go find those experts? And what if I were to ask you guys a question? This is a great question, because when I'm up front and I'm speaking in front of people, what is an expert? So give me the definition of what is an expert?
Let me Google that really quickly. Hang on.
What is an expert?
No. I think an expert is somebody that obviously knows um, far more than the average person on a certain topic, but also is willing to continue to learn more about that topic from
Yep.
others. And also then be able to teach it to those who can benefit from that knowledge.
Yeah. What do you think, Amy? What's an expert?
I like that one. Can I
Yeah.
take that one? I think it also includes.
Use it as a blog.
Can I use that one? I think it's experience, like having the experience, but also knowing you can still continue to experience and learn.
Yeah.
But bringing something to the table that you've either gone through, you've learned, you've adapted. As an expert, you're a resource, and that's a big
Mhm.
Yep.
thing that we talked about with Convene. Is this is a resource for people. So the experts that are in here are resources for people. And I think as an expert, you bring something to the table. I'm not an expert in flying an airplane, but you know who is? Wherever he is on the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
not an expert in soccer, but I know that Jeff was a soccer coach. Okay, because he's experienced it. He's done the work for it. So he's able to then share it out as an expert in that field.
Yeah. Doc, what's your thoughts on
Well,
it?
haven't
And then
figured
I'll
that
give you
figured out
what I
what
teach when I go speak. What do you think, Doc?
Well, since you shotgunned us, I'll go ahead and say that an expert, in my opinion, is someone who is more than technically proficient in the area, whatever area that may be, teaching, coaching, whatever, and is sought out for, like Amy said, as a resource, advice, as the person to go to in the event of we've tried everything else and nothing else is working.
Yeah. So when I teach it, I'm standing up in front of people, I'm talking about decision making. And an expert is somebody who's made all the mistakes that they can make in a specific domain. That's kind of why I say it, and it's not necessarily true, but that's how we learn. We learn through life experience. That's what you said, Amy, at the beginning. That's how you started it. We learn through life experience, and the more experience we can get, whether that is making good decisions, having things that work for us properly, or whether it's making bad decisions. Ooh, don't do this, because this doesn't quite work. That's what it is. It's experience. It's bringing life experience into it and knowing what you should do and what you should do. Now, does that
I
mean
have
you
one
won't
more example.
things? Go ahead. Let's hear it. I want to hear it.
My example of the expert is the gunnery sergeant talking to the sergeant about the young second lieutenant, saying, "Hey, watch this."
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
expert. He knows what's about to happen.
Yeah. And so what Doc is talking about is a second lieutenant. It's like a brand new teacher coming into the classroom, right? It's a brand new teacher coming into the classroom, but we've gone through our school. We're ready. We know what we're doing. We're the lieutenant. I can tell the gunny what to do because I'm a lieutenant, right? That's how it works. That's the rank. And then I'm gonna, go in because I know exactly what I'm doing. And they're just saying, sit back and watch this because this lieutenant's getting ready to screw it up, you know? And
Mhm.
so, and that's really how it works. It's build that life experience, but
Yeah.
but that's what's so important about this community, that you're going to build a base of experts across the board. And an expert, nobody's ever an expert. You can always do better. You can always get better.
Right.
No matter if you've been there 5 years or you've been there 30, 35 years, you're always going
Yeah.
to be learning and you're always striving to get better. But that's what this community is about. This community is going to offer that base of expertise so that new person or even the older person can come in. Because sometimes even the brand new school trained teacher, they have the latest and greatest on how things should be done. And that 30-year-old is so stuck in their ways, that 30-year-old teacher is so stuck in their ways that they can't get out of their own way, you know? So we can all learn from each other, and this community is going to bring all that together. I'll stop talking.
Yeah. That's a first.
Well, I do have to get back to.
It didn't last long.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No.
Stop.
He's that
Somehow
kid.
I think you've heard that before.
Kid in class always got in trouble for talking.
No, I really didn't. I was always a quiet, shy guy in class. That's very true.
There you go.
Very true.
I just wanted to. Amy mentioned the word resource a couple minutes ago, and it got me thinking about the conversation we had earlier in terms of other websites out there, or even other social media platforms out there, and they're all kind of single-barreled, right, or single-columned. You know, you could buy some lesson plans or find lesson plans at a couple of different websites, and that's kind of it. There's a little bit of discussion here and there, but it's mainly like, hey, thanks for the lesson. You know, other social media platforms, there's a stream, put a question, put a topic, something, it's a little bit of stream and it gets lost, right? YouTube, great videos, unbelievable videos, little comments back and forth. But the resources that Convene and the Teacher Tribe will offer are, I don't want to say endless, but there's so many. And we've talked about them already, the discussion boards, the blogs, announcements that go to everybody in the community, everybody in the group, not just select people. You know, the experiences obviously is the mainstay of it. The ability to make modules or syllabi that you have to follow, you know, one experience to the next experience to the next experience. To you know, document management, a document hub. Just the amount of resources that Convene offers out, and then even outside, being able to have a podcast and then host it in your group or in your community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'd almost like to say that maybe it's an all-in-one type platform.
Oh, wow.
Have you heard that before?
Wow.
Yeah.
Who came up with this?
But in all seriousness, the amount of resources that the Teacher Tribe community is going to offer everybody in educating, every educator, not just teachers, every educator, administrators, even parents. You know, I could see wanting to be in the Teacher Tribe in certain groups and you know, having that collaboration. It's going to be an awesome group, Amy. I'm so glad you brought it back. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm excited too, because there'll be an opportunity for mentorship, private mentoring with me, you know, to work one-on-one, because some people don't want to be in a big group of, you know,
Sure.
sharing what they're struggling with. Like as Matt said before, yes, you can post it anonymously, but if you want the more one-on-one, it's already in there, like to be able to work one-on-one with me, you know, with my experience as an expert in the field, and be able to work, you know, and do those, you know, week after week, you know, 12 weeks of working with a mentor. The amount that you'll be able to gain, you know, whether you're a new teacher or veteran teacher, we all can help. We can all use resources to up our game in the teaching field.
Yeah. So what do you want? So pitch. Here's your pitch. This gives your pitch. Who do you want to come in and come alongside of you? What kind of and wide open. Go ahead.
Okay. I was like, you know, if you want to, and I'm actually, because I'm looking at the comments, and Mama Bateson said, you know, it's those people that love the profession and are willing to share. They want to collaborate. They're wanting to learn. They're wanting to continue to learn, in an atmosphere that's supportive, that's collaborative, that connects you with people from not just your own school, not just your own school district, but all over the place. And I think sometimes that gets a little lost when you're talking other platforms. This is all going to be housed together, and eventually there'll be opportunities for, you know, leaders within school districts, within leaders, you know, within states, to be able to work together in smaller groups. So we're excited for that as well. So yeah. If you're one that loves the profession, everybody has an expert in something, you have resources that you want to share, this is a place to come and do it.
Yeah. Well, look what Miss Bateson says right there. College programs have mentors, contact, let's get in touch with them. Let's bring in the mentorship programs. This platform is seeing a lot of success with mentorship programs. It really is. And that's because it lends to that sharing our experience and knowledge with others. That's what it's really all about. So looking to grow it. I'm excited. I'm looking to bring rectangle pizza back. That's my ultimate goal.
That triangle.
Not the triangle, the rectangle. We don't want the triangle. Triangle, you can get that from Domino's, Papa John's, all those different things, like we said. And you said that they brought in Papa John's to your kids' school. That's not the same as the rectangle pizza,
Nope.
Doesn't build character, does it?
It doesn't. No. It doesn't. So we have to bring
the rectangle pizza with one pepperoni on it.
So maybe this community and the rectangle pizza. Let's talk about that. You said one pepperoni and you went just like that, like a round. That's not what
you eat all the way around.
That's not what the rectangle pizza, pepperoni pizza was. It was the little bitty chunks.
It was the little bitty pieces. Yes, it was.
I always had the one.
I know we're completely sidetracked here, but the closest thing I've found is the Tostino's pizza in the frozen pizza aisle.
Yeah. You're right.
They're garbage, but they're so good. It's that nostalgia.
It into a rectangle.
It isn't a rectangle.
Tostino's is a sponsor.
Well, that's
it comes as a rectangle.
It's a square.
Define square. Define rectangle.
A square is 4 equal sides.
But what if it identifies as a triangle?
Oh my Lord, that's it. We're done. No more from you, sir. You're that difficult student that always has something to add.
Oh, did I?
Amy, just go out hey, Amy, 5 seconds. Take a 5
second breath. 5 second breath.
It really does help. If you've got kids, it works really well.
It really does, huh?
All right. I'm excited about this. This community can grow. This community can become a really big one. We want other leaders to come in alongside Amy, alongside Jeff helping, and really grow something special. Bring that expertise. Bring what, you have to offer to the community. And let's do it. So, Amy, you get the last words.
Yeah. If you are an educator, whether you're seasoned, brand new, in the middle, feeling stuck, not feeling stuck, bring your experience to the teacher tribe. We want people. It's not all about me. As much as there are days I want it to be all about me, it's not all about me. And I cannot do it on my own. I'm firmly admitting that right now, Matt. You can write that down. I cannot do it on my own. I'm a little bit of a control freak, but in this instance, I don't want to do it alone. And so bring your expertise, bring your questions. If you're straight out of the gate out of school, that's okay. Come on in. Ask your questions.
Absolutely. All right. I'm excited. This is going to grow. This is going to be a great community. Jeff, thanks as always. Doc, thanks as always. Really appreciate everything you do for us. Come back and watch the video. There's, the donate button. Throw Doc a couple of dollars. That's all he needs. He needs to go and get his pizza from the store. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.